Good evening, my dear colleagues. Welcome to another Inged Zoom series talk. Today, our guest is Sezen Arslan. Sezen Arslan received her MA degree in ELT at Çanakkale 18 Mart University and her PhD in ELT again at Hacettepe University, Turkey. She is an associate professor of ELT at Bandırma 17 Eylül University. She's currently the editor-in-chief of Futuristic Implementations of Research in Education Journal, which is the acronym is FIRE Journal. Her main research interest areas are foreign language teacher training, assessment, and cultural awareness in language teaching. The title of her talk this evening is ELT's Big Conversation, Putting Dialogic Teaching into Practice. Thank you, dear Sezen Hocam, for being with us, for accepting to be a guest speaker, and welcome again. The screen is all yours.
Okay, Aydan Hocam, thank you very much. Actually, hi everyone, good evening, and I'm very happy to be here with you, and I'm very honored actually to be here. And I offer my special thanks to Aydan Hocam, such a valuable name from ELT. So today we will talk about dialogic teaching actually, but please be sure that you will not be bored, because I will not bore you with, thousands of information, because as a previous language teacher, I know what works in the EFL classroom and what doesn't work. So believe me, at the end of this presentation, you will benefit from this, and you will understand what dialogic teaching and what dialogic teaching is not. Okay, so right now you are looking at a picture, and the English language teacher you see actually, he is opening the palms, very good body language, open body language, and students are smiling. The interaction is very good. Everything is perfect in this classroom. So who doesn't want such an EFL classroom? Everyone wants, because the interaction, there is the communication, and the faces are smiling, blah, blah. Okay, so today we will see how can we accomplish it by dialogic teaching. But before that, I made a song for you, and this song will be for us from now on. So don't forget the song actually. Dialogic Teaching Learning Machine. I just prepared it from Suno AI. So let's listen. Sorry. It used to be lectures, one-way street, students zoned out, learning retreat, but now we're turning things around, brand new scene, dialogic teaching. Yes, dialogic teaching is a learning machine. So actually it's much longer, but I will keep it short for you, and maybe we can listen to it later. It's a rap song, by the way. So let's continue. Okay, today I will just start with defining dialogue and conversation. I will just, put the attach into the difference actually. And then I will move on to pillars of dialogic teaching. And then I will talk about EFL teachers' problems. And I will just provide some humble solutions to those problems. Okay, so an English language teacher always say, let's talk. But there is this problem. Generally, students do not want to talk, and generally they keep silent. They get bored easily. So this is a problem, and unfortunately, this is the most common problem maybe in our EFL classes. And a poor English language teacher always wishes that the students are engaging group works and, the praise. The students are engaging discussions. The students ask and answer questions. But they are all necessary, for meaningful dialogues. So dialogic teaching, etc. So what is this dialogue or dialogues? What are those dialogues? We always keep saying dialogues. So just let's reveal the mystery then. So dialogues are equal to conversation or something more than this. So let's define that there is this difference between dialogue and conversation, and they are not the same. Actually, they are maybe used interchangeably, but they are not the same. So let's define first. I don't want to sound sexist here, but I have to use this meme actually. This dialogue and conversation in order to eliminate this difference actually. You see here a couple and a girl in red dress. So the dialogue is looking back. You know, the boyfriend is looking back the girl in a red dress, right? Intentionally, not unintentionally, but intentionally, because he has the purpose. He likes the girl. And the other girl, the other girlfriend actually, who looks very angry or surprised, they say, she's looking at, her boyfriend. Why? Because she's very angry, right? And she's doing this intentionally. But on the other hand, the poor girl in red dress, she doesn't know anything. Actually, she doesn't have this awareness. Just walking down the street. So she has no purpose actually. So this is the difference. So we can say dialogues have purpose because they are based on some kind of evidence, but conversations do not have any purpose, do not have or do not address any meaning actually. It's like hi, hello, hi, bye, that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, conversation is conversation. It doesn't have a purpose, they say. Okay, so far we have reviewed conversation and dialogue because this is the biggest pillar of the dialogic teaching. In order to understand it, we should differentiate between these two terms. So let's practice then. Okay, I would like to ask you whether this is a conversation or dialogue. Let's read it. Teacher is starting a lesson. Good morning, class. Good morning, teacher. How are you? Fine, thanks, and you? I'm fine too, thank you. Sit down, please. And then maybe it continues like Ali tahtayı silsene. So let's switch on Turkish. Okay. So it is a conversation or a dialogue. What do you say? Okay. Neslihan hocam says conversation. Sinem hocam says dialogue. Okay. My student Emirhan says conversation. Thank you very much. Fine, thanks. And you? Yeah, it's a conversation. Okay. Conversation. Okay, great. Okay. So it is conversation. Yes. Thank you very much for providing responses. It's a conversation because it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't have a purpose. It just say good morning, good morning. That's all. Actually, it's just a way of greeting. So students here, or a student is asking a question. Can I go to the restroom, teacher? Yes, you can. Thank you. What about this? Conversation or a dialogue? This has a purpose. Yes, definitely. This has a purpose, and it is, yes, it's a dialogue because the student is asking whether he or she can go to the restroom. Okay, thank you very much. We are, doing very well. Okay, what about this one? Teacher says, what can you see in this picture? Student says, an unhappy woman. Teacher says, why do you think she is unhappy? Student says she doesn't smile. So what about this one? If you can say dialogue or conversation because, if you just add because in one sentence, I would be very glad actually. There are some participants saying dialogue. Halis Hocam says conversation. Emirhan says dialogue. Dialogue. Dialogue because what? Dialogue because it's a message, hocam says. Dialogue because what? Neslihan says dialogue because it has a purpose. Teacher wants an explanation for what photo is telling. Okay, good. Yes, this is a dialogue because teacher is asking for an evidence. Actually, there is this photo, and based on this photo, teacher elicits some ideas. Teacher tries to obtain some ideas and tries to get the evidence. And the evidence, yes, the seemingly this, a woman is unhappy and because she doesn't smile. And this is the evidence. Okay, thank you. Okay, another one, suppose that you will read a text with your students as a pre-reading activity. You show the following pictures about the text before reading and ask the students what the title of the text can be. Conversation or a dialogue? You just say, what is the title? Even in one sentence, what is the title? So is it a conversation or a dialogue? Okay, so you are definitely great. Actually, you are the learning machines themselves. Thank you very much. Yes, this is absolutely dialogue because we have, 3 pictures, and based on these pictures, we want our students to answer the, question, the title. Okay, what about this one? Again, the same pictures. How do the people feel? Ali says, scared. Teacher say, what makes you think so, Ali? Their faces. Okay, dialogue. Conversations are mutually. Beyzanur hocam says dialogue. Halis teacher says conversation, dialogue, conversations, dialogue. Okay. So Kübra hocam says dialogue. Again, a dialogue between two speakers, says Zilan. Okay, yes, it is a dialogue because again, we have the pictures and the teacher says, how do the people feel? They are scared. So on what evidence do you say this? Because of their faces. So this is dialogue because it has a meaning actually. So then, first principle, make use of dialogues to promote classroom talk. Conversations can also be used, but they should be actually limited to some extent because they don't go anywhere. They don't have a purpose. So, but on the other hand side, actually, dialogues promote talk and they are more meaningful and they are more authentic than we can say. But this is the first principle. So what about the second principle? This is the supportive environment. So let's teach the drama. If you just observe the picture embedded in this slide, actually you can see in this classroom or in your classrooms, actually, you or we, let's say, we welcome all ideas with open arms and zero judgment. We should not judge our students. We should all the time be positive towards them because they have to feel themselves, comfortable and confident. So how can we achieve it actually in our EFL classrooms? Maybe some can be angry at me here, but limited L1 use can be allowed in the EFL classrooms. So you don't have to be, such a teacher, teacher worried about L1 use actually in this meme, teacher, is shouting at the student who use L1. Of course, the limitation should be done. So because the students should not all the time use L1 actually. I mean, in our case, Turkish. But to some extent, it can be. It can be to some extent. Okay. And the second one is actually we should tell foreign language is not that foreign. And there are some words that are common between, you know, Turkish and English, like robot, for example. Especially for young learners, this is very beneficial because, you know, they are too young, they are just kids, and they don't want to learn maybe sometimes any other language because their L1, their native language learning is still in process. So they need to feel themselves comfortable with that. So we need to just put the emphasis on common words like robot, like ambulance, television, police. They are very similar to Turkish equivalents actually. So the message is foreign language is not so foreign. Actually, everyone can do this and you can also learn this. Because unfortunately, there is this reaction towards learning English in some families or in some people, let's say. Okay, third principle is reciprocality. Actually, this word means mutual dependence. For example, if the message is sent by the sender should make sure that the message should be received by the receiver actually. So let's actually watch this very short video. I draw an analogy between reciprocality and a tennis match. Let's see.
Oh, he is firing aces. That's there we go.
Yes, the player throws the ball and the other player tries to catch. So there is this reciprocality. They are mutually dependent on each other in order to play this game. They have to follow this rule. One throws the ball and other tries to catch. So this is the rule actually. So the communication is like this. The interaction happens in this way as well. So my thoughts are like the ball, and I throw my thoughts to the other speaker or the listener, and he or she should provide an answer based on my thoughts, actually. So this is the tennis match, let's say, if you want to draw an analogy between, you know, tennis match and dialogic teaching. So what should we do for promoting this kind of talk? This sentence is taken from 8th grade students' textbook. I think it says bungee jumping is more or less dangerous and challenging than canoeing. The students are expected to mark the appropriate one according to themselves actually. But for example, they marked more or they marked, selected less. So just in order to emphasize or in order to promote dialogic teaching in this point, we can ask some follow-up questions like, why did you decide that, for example, bungee jumping is more dangerous? Of course, in the first place, we need to introduce this concept. What is bungee jumping? What is canoeing? Maybe you can show some pictures. After you prepare the students, mentally towards this kind of sports, I'm talking about actually this stuff here. Maybe you can ask some questions like this. Why did you decide that blah, blah is more dangerous than blah, blah? Or what evidence do you have about, for example? So then you can study on such questions in order to make them more, dialogic. Or maybe you can paraphrase the students' utterances. For example, students just say, teacher, bathroom, or in our case, teacher, lobo, for example, teacher, toilet, for example, okay? So you need to say, restroom or bathroom, do you need to use the restroom, bathroom? Then the student can understand, okay, she's talking, or my teacher is talking about bathroom, lavabo is bathroom, or toilet is bathroom or restroom, depending on the context. Of course, you can make the sentences lengthy according to the level of your students. Okay, now I want you to watch the video. The video is very short. Please pay attention to the questions actually asked in this video and tell what the problem is. Okay. Sorry.
Hey, did you have a nice weekend? Yeah. Did you stay in town? Yep. Oh, did you go out? No. Did you stay home? Yeah. Oh, was it fun? Yeah, it was really fun. Great.
And then you can go nuts, right? So what is the problem? If you pay attention to the questions, Nihat Hocam says just yes, no questions. Yes. Can you, for example, write any question that you saw in this video? Close questions. Gökhan says they keep their answers short. No info gap. Did you go out? For example, did you go out question. So how many alternatives as options here? Yes and no, right? These questions are not open-ended questions. So we have to fix. Yes, not reciprocal enough, definitely. Okay, so what can be the fixed version then? How can we fix those questions in order to make them more reciprocal or more dialogic? Do you have any solutions? Let's fix them. Let's repair these questions. By adding WH questions, definitely, Sinem Hocam. Thank you very much. You are great. So how can we do this? Just give an example. For example, did you go out? How can I fix it? How can I turn it into a dialogic question? What was your weekend like? Definitely. Bravo hocam. Brok hocam. Thank you very much. Did you go out or stay home? This can be a good start. Yes, as a starter, yes. How do you feel when you go out? Why do you think so? Where will you go? Definitely, you are great. Okay, so as a video, now let's watch the fixed version.
Aisha, how was your weekend?
Oh, my weekend was awesome.
Really? What did you do?
I hung out with my family at my house. They all came over and we had dinner together and hung out for the day.
That sounds great. How big is your family?
I have one brother and he's married and they have 2 kids
Oh.
and my parents.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Why did you get together? Was there a special celebration?
Yeah, it was Father's Day this weekend, so yeah, a little
Oh.
family time.
So what did you eat?
Oh, I made a curry and rice.
Oh, yum. Does your family like curry?
Yeah, they do. My family just loves food, so they're happy for anything.
So, no, happy end. Okay. So other problems that we experience, teacher says, oh, my instructions never seem to work. I need to translate my instructions to Turkish to check my students' understanding. This is a very common problem, actually. And in the beginning years of my teaching, I had this problem as well, because I have so long, or I had, let's say, so long instructions. My sentences were very lengthy, etc. So any solution to this? Yes, maybe modeling, sure. Instruction checking questions, definitely. Demo, yes. We can do instructions in L1. Maybe for very kids, for very young learners, actually, this could be done as well. Asking questions to students. Are we looking at page 11 or 19? Body language and simplified language use. Yes, they all actually work. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So let's see. For beginner EFL students, yes, native language can be used, but in a very limited way. And we can break instructions into small pieces. We can say and then show. We can say and then show. Actually, demo, modeling, we can say. And please, maybe you can try this. Try to record yourself while you give instructions. And maybe you can study on them later, because sometimes you may not realize that you are making some kind of mistakes. Maybe you talk too lengthy. In order to pinpoint your areas to be developed, and you can just record yourself. This is just a humble suggestion. And then how can we break instructions into small pieces then? For example, in this scenario for the A1 level students, the beginner level students, look at the picture and tell me what you see. This is a very broad sentence, actually. Look at the picture. Which picture? Which picture actually? The students, minds are lost over there. Look at the picture and tell me what you see. But instead of it, actually, we can just, for example, say here for this one, can you see? No, actually, I'm holding the book anyway. You can say, look at the picture in your book. Maybe you can give the page number on page 23. Point to the person in the picture. The students must see the person or people. Now tell me what color shirt the person is wearing. Very simple, to the point and precise instruction. And then great. So don't forget to give the positive feedback. And are there any other people in the picture? Tell me what you see about them. So you see, instead of saying look at the picture and tell me what you see, just break the instructions into pieces and go step by step. Okay, so for the intermediate level students, for example, write a paragraph about your favorite food. Actually, I hated such a question when I was a high school student or when I was a secondary school student, because my Turkish teacher all the time told us to, write about your previous holiday. My holiday lasted for 3 months. So which part should I talk about? It's not clear. Maybe I didn't go on a sea holiday. If I did actually, so what should I talk about? This is not precise. This is not clear. So we need to put it into pieces like this. Of course, it's just my own style. You can enrich it with your own style as well. Think about your favorite food, for example. What is it? Because when someone asks, think about your favorite food, nothing comes into your mind, and this is very normal. Maybe you can just give some thinking time. Okay, write a sentence about the name of your favorite food. It can be pasta, it can be spinach, it can be meatball, anything else. Dolma, okay? So tell me then why you like this food. Write another sentence about the reason. And then the students wrote about the reason. Then can you describe the taste or smell of your food? Add one more sentence to your paragraph. Then yes, at the end of the day, we can make a paragraph in this situation actually. And last one. Whoa, this is read the poem and write a critical analysis of its themes. So this is for advanced level students actually, maybe for a literary class, or maybe a translation class, let's say. And here it is very hard as well. And here are the steps actually. You can read the slide. Sorry, there is too much information here, but I just want to show you that there are some certain steps to be followed actually when you are giving the instruction. You cannot just say the instruction and leave it alone. You need to study on the instruction. You need to break this instruction into pieces actually. Okay, I'm passing it. So other problem is that my teaching is dominated by my question and answer routines. I always ask the questions and my students just answer them. So any solution? I am the question asker and the students are generally do not want to talk, or they just say yes, no, that kind of stuff. Let them ask the questions, okay? Brainstorming, very good, brainstorming. Okay, what else? I want to hear your very valuable responses because we are coming from the kitchen of the profession mostly. Teacher talk should be adjusted in a way that leaves room for students' participation, group assignments. Ben yes no'ya bile razıyım, yeter ki konuşsunlar. Okay. Group them into 2 and 3 and ask them to ask and answer intermediate. Definitely. Actually, this is the point I should go here. The group works. Okay. So what else can we do? Actually, we can identify the moments when our questions are unnecessary. Maybe we are asking too many questions. Maybe this is the problem. Maybe we are asking too many yes/no questions. So we should actually record ourselves and study on our questions actually, in order to have an awareness about our questions. You can use silence. Sometimes we are impatient actually. We don't give our students thinking time, adequate, sufficient thinking time. And we can also make use of pictures and body language. And at the end of the day, we have a very essential item, which is prompts. And now we will see what are prompts. We have completion prompts, fill in the blank type prompts. For example, look, teacher says, what do we call color pencils? We call them, and then the teacher wants to elicit the answer. Actually, the dots here signifying the waiting time, silence. We call them, for example, the students, are silent, but the correct answer is crayons. And then the teacher says, we call them crayons, or someone says crayons from the class. Then we distance this prompt step by step, and we will establish a link with students' experiences. Teacher says again, do you have crayons? Okay, class, show them to me. What color are they? Red, blue, black, etc. And then pointing to other student, Elif or Ali, let's show your crayons. Neslihan, what color are they? Neslihan, just point your crayon to Ali. Then Ali, just point your crayon to, or show your crayon to blah, blah. So now just we are assigning the students, and we want to try to establish a link with the students' experiences here. This is just one type of prompts actually, and it's called elicitation style, let's say. Okay, and the second thing actually, as one of the teachers here mentioned previously, group work. What if my students talk too much then? For example, you are in a speaking classroom and your students talk too much, then the noise level is too high. So what should you do? The group work, but group works can be very critical. They can be angels and they can be foes at the same time. They can be dangerous if they are not well managed, because generally in group works, some members work, some members sleep. So unfortunately, this is the case. But in order to avoid such a circumstance, we need to assign some roles. One of the roles, of course, this can be changed according to the context. Depending on the context, you can just enrich in the roles. One of the roles can be facilitator, leader, manager, whatever the name it is actually. And here the responsibility is given. Or scribe, secretary, yazman in Turkish actually. The secretary takes some notes, prepares reports. If he or she likes writing, of course, the teacher can assign this role. Or sometimes the roles can just be given haphazardly actually, without any plan. And presenter, summarizer, spokesperson, these kind of people presents results to other groups and prepares answers, etc. Timekeeper. For example, this when I was a teacher, I assigned this role to the students with misbehavior problems actually. Because if you give the mission to the student, like timekeeper, the student acts like a police. Suddenly the student becomes a police, and she or he is the perfect timekeeper actually. But if you don't give them any responsibility, they will misbehave, and so they will make some maybe bad things in the classroom and create a discomfort. Okay, and the other role can be checker, anything else, time checker, maybe native language checker. So this person will make sure that all group members understand the concepts, or language. If the role is language checker, then the language checker will check whether the members use any Turkish word or not. And reflector listens to what other students say and explain it back, asking the original speaker if the interpretation is correct. So as I said before, depending on the context, this kind of roles can be different. Okay, so overall, there is this difference between dialogue and conversation. Dialogues have purposes. They are specific to the point, but conversations don't go anywhere. Hi, bye, that kind of stuff. Of course, as a starter, conversations are perfect, but in order to get your students speak, we need more and more dialogues. The second pillar is supportive environment, where you promote your students' mental health and behaviors in a positive way. You need to feel them comfortable with your praise, with your valuable words, and maybe in a limited way, to some extent, native language can be allowed, depending on our context, as I say. And the third one is reciprocality, which means that we need to make sure the communication is happening. I am asking the question, and the other person, I have to make sure that the other person is listening to me actively and is understanding my question and will reply me back. So this is reciprocality. And my presentation ends here. Thank you very much for listening to me. If you want to extend the dialogue on Dialogic teaching, actually, I'm just leaving my email. You can email me at any time if you want to have any questions or remarks, as I say. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sezen Hocam. What a wonderful presentation. And you also kept us busy. We definitely had a lot of ideas going back and forth in the chat box. One quick note here. If your classes are monolingual, definitely every now and then when you feel that English is hopeless, you can switch to L1. But if you have a multilingual classroom where you have, for example, right now at the university where I work, most of the groups have foreign students. So for the instructors that I work with, it becomes a must explain everything in English, which is a wonderful, authentic situation because uh, only then you need a common language to express yourself. You don't need to use Turkish. Okay. Uh, if you have any questions or any remarks or comments that you would like to make, please raise your hand so that I can ask you to unmute yourself and ask your question, or use the chat box, write your question there. Both Sezen Hocam and I can see your questions, and we will try to address them. By the way, guys, some of you are sending direct messages to me. Please make sure that you're sending messages to everyone in the meeting, because when you send it to me, directly to me, I can see them, but not the others. Yes, of course, people are thanking you.
Thank you, everyone.
This is a yeah. You're such a lucky person. Your students admire you so much. Sezen Hocam, I don't know whether I should call it a question or not. Do you remember the video that you shared with us, where first the woman started with yes, no questions, but
Mhm.
only received very short answers, and the dialogue didn't go anywhere?
Yeah.
In the second revised version, I have noticed that she used yes, no questions again
Mhm.
at certain parts. But then the listener, I should say, uh, contributed more to the dialogue. So she said, "Oh, does your family like curry?" And she just didn't say yes and cut it short. She said, "Oh yes, my family loves curry." you know, that kind of thing. So she elaborated on that.
Mhm.
What do you think? Well, I have a kind of an answer in my mind, but I would like to hear what you think the reason is.
The
Why, in such some situations, the listener or the second participant gives very short answers and does not contribute, but in
Mhm.
certain other situations, they do try to carry on the dialogue.
Thank you very much, Aydan Hocam. It's a very nice question. The reason is that, in my mind, actually, WH questions are a culture.
Mhm,
If you want to spread this culture in your class, which is facilitated by the supportive environment, actually the students try to get adapted to your culture, because then the student can understand, okay, this teacher is asking me a yes no question, but I know her style or his style, and she wants or he wants more answers. Because
mhm,
WH questions is the culture that should be established in the classroom. So if you just you know, adapt your students in this culture, then I think even though you ask yes or no questions, then your students can talk. But at the end of the day, you know, this is just a video. So this is just shown as an example. But
mhm,
I
mhm,
believe that this is a culture. So, and we need to disseminate this culture in our classrooms. Of
mhm,
course, we can make use of yes, no questions. They can be very good starters, maybe icebreakers, but after some time, they are, you know, useless. Because
mhm,
yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. I'm improving my English proficiency as a language teacher, but my students just say yes, no.
mhm.
So they cannot improve their language proficiency. So it's a culture at the end of the day, I can say.
Okay. Yeah. And I have some questions in the chat box. I'm going to use them. But before that, I also want to say that once when I was teaching, I used yes, no questions.
Mhm.
And I asked the students to stand in a corner. So if I said, for example, do you like dogs? If their answer is yes, they need to stand in the right corner. If their answer was no, they were asked to go to the left corner. That is a wonderful activity because sometimes they need physical movement. They feel very sleepy when they sit passively. And when they go to their group, I would further my questions. I would go, for example, why are you in this group? They would say, because I like dogs. Oh, really? What kind of dogs? Şimdi, that is a very difficult question because that requires a certain jargon. You
Mhm.
need to know the uh, breed names of dogs. So they would go, um, the small ones, small, but a lot of hair. You know, that I like that a lot because you help your students to understand that they don't need to come up with the exact vocabulary item all the time. We do that in our native language as well. Sometimes they can just explain what they are saying or what they want to say using very simple structures. Just a quick note here. Beyza Nur Hocam says, Sezen Hocam, do you think assigning some roles to students in group work might interrupt their engagement in activity? If so, do you have any suggestions to prevent it?
Assigning some roles to students in group work might interrupt their engagement. Which students actually?
You said, for example, in the group, you ask one student to be the timekeeper, the other one to be the leader, the other one to be the spokesperson. So you assign roles. I think Beyzanur Hocam, if I'm wrong, please correct me. I think that's what Beyzanur Hocam is asking. If you assign these roles to students, do you think it might interrupt their engagement? So if I'm just the timekeeper, why should I worry about the activity itself? I will just keep the time. Beyzanur Hocam, did I understand your question correctly?
Yes, yes, she says.
Okay, good.
Uh,
So, well, what do you think, Hocam?
Thank you very much, Beyzanur Hocam. Actually, assigning roles to students in group works might not interrupt their engagement because we are not assigning the same role to same student all the time. We will change the roles. For example, Ali will be the timekeeper, and then Ali will change his role in the next group work. So every time the students will exchange their roles. And each roles will be, defined for a different person.
Hocam, if you're done with your presentation, could you please stop sharing your screen so that we can see each other?
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, thank you
Yes.
very much. And I think you can see the chat box. Yeah. Ali Hocam, I'm not going to ask that question. Maybe later in a dialogue, you can talk about that. Yeah. If so, to avoid that keeping. If so, to avoid that, keeping group member low in number would work.
Hmm.
Would that work? I don't know.
Um, it depends on the class population, I think.
Mhm.
If you have 20 students, maybe each group can be assigned maybe 4 people, 5 people. And sometimes the peers can work as well, actually. That depends.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, Arkan Hocam says, well, of course, using WH questions can be useful, but I guess we can also encourage students to ask questions as well to make the turn taking more dialogical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time we ask, they answer. Every now and then we should let them ask questions. For example, it doesn't have to be about you. You can share a picture, maybe,
Mhm.
and then you can say, ask questions. I will try to answer your questions to give information about this picture.
Mhm.
So they can come up with their questions. What happened? Why is she crying? When did this happen? Where is this photograph take? I don't know, depending on the level of the proficiency level, of course. But definitely agree with you, Erkan Hocam. Every now and then they should be given a chance
Yeah.
to carry on the dialogue.
And as I say,
Uh,
as I previously mentioned, the WH questions, are a culture. So if you just disseminate this culture into the classroom, then they will learn how to ask questions as well.
Mhm.
Because you are the model as language
yes,
teacher.
yeah. So if you start your own culture with your own students,
Mhm.
unlike the practicum, because in practicum you're trying to cook in someone else's kitchen. This I like this saying very much. But when you start teaching with your students, then you will also start the culture.
Mhm.
And when they understand what kind of a teacher you are, nowadays, if you stay alive, of course, uh, they will definitely try to, keep up with you,
Mhm.
obey your rules. Okay. Okay. Azra Hocam has a question over there. Can you see that, Sezen Hocam?
Yes, hocam.
Conversation type. Uh, well, could you please make it clear for us the distinction between conversation and dialogue
Mhm.
that you have just mentioned in this presentation is not in common language. It is a kind of a jargon distinction. Am
Mhm.
I right?
Yeah, definitely.
It is only for ELT. So only for language teachers we make that distinction. If you go out and ask John in the street, what is the difference between conversation and dialogue? The John will say, they're the same. So, so it is
Yeah.
a kind of professional distinction. But she asks, conversation type are suitable more in learning languages or dialogue types, or so which one is better?
So
She
I'll
says.
write
That's the
them.
question.
If we have a scale from 1 to 10, if we have a scale from 1 to 10, actually, I would say 3 of them would be conversations and 7 of them should be dialogues.
Mhm.
I think dialogues are more important because remember, dialogic teaching is a learning machine. As the
Yes.
song says.
Yes. Yes. Uh, I think conversations are also important because they have social roles,
Mhm.
like the chit chat that I had
Yeah.
when you first joined. I said silence is, I mean, it's uncomfortable. So
Uncomfortable.
let's talk about nonsense stuff, okay?
Yeah. What
So
is the
that
weather
is,
like?
yeah, that is also important. Zilan Hocam, uh, I'm terribly sorry, but can you please clarify your message? I just couldn't understand. I'm familiar with the concept, but it is time consuming. Okay, which concept we're talking about? Time consuming. Do you have any more alternatives to avoid what? If
Dialogic.
possible, you can also turn your mic on and ask your own question or rewrite the question. Let me check. Uh, oh, I can't see any clarification. Zilan Hocam, can you turn on your mic, Zilan Hocam? Ah, I mean, when doing
Just a
active.
second.
Zilan Hocam, could you please clarify the question? Because
Okay.
I want to get an answer, but I
Mhm.
failed to understand the question. I need your help here.
No problem. Thank you so much. So when I was in freshman, I was,
Mhm.
taking some, what can I say, like practicum, but not in, university. So I was using Jigsaw, but I didn't know that Jigsaw activities are a kind of dialogic teaching,
Mm,
activities.
mm,
So as I see, they are a part of them. So
mhm,
it takes a lot of time to prepare it before coming to school, even in the school. But jigsaw activities are good, a good alternative for using in the classroom,
mhm,
according to biologic teaching, and it's fruitful for the students as well. And I ask for more, alternatives as jigsaw technique or technology, maybe in the class focus questions, kind of.
mm,
Mhm.
I mean the activities in the class, so they are so much take they are taking time so much.
mm.
That was the question.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay. So you come up with a suggestion. Jigsaw activities are good because
Mm-hmm.
uh, they offer some kind of biologic learning
Okay.
situation. Sezen Hocam, do you agree with that? Do you think that jigsaw activities bring some dialogic aspect to teaching?
Actually, everything can be dialogic. It
Mm-hmm.
depends on the use, actually. I can make a textbook dialogic as well, make the most boring textbook dialogic as well. It is on your hands, Zilan, actually. I know Zilan from Van Yüzyıl University, from my previous university.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I understand actually what she means. Like, jigsaw is also a part of dialogic teaching,
Mhm,
but jigsaw can be not a part of dialogic teaching as well.
mhm,
If you use it, if you misuse it. So it depends on your ability to make the
mhm,
most boring stuff into dialogic or not, actually.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Well, Burak Hocam says students get bored very quickly and their attention span is very short. So he says he finds himself in a situation where he has to switch to Turkish. And L2 usage is minimized. Any advanced advice to tackle with this?
Burak hocam, actually it depends on how much you use L2. Yes, I do it in my classes as well. For example, I am in the translation and interpreting department in Bandırma 17 Eylül University, and I have my students here as well. Sometimes they get bored. Actually, I can understand from their eyes. And when they get bored, I can understand this, and then I can turn, I can switch into Turkish, but I just limit myself. I don't want to continue the whole dialogue and whole chat in Turkish, because otherwise the things have no sense. But maybe you can make a joke in Turkish. It depends on actually the energy between you and the students. But I don't want to conduct the whole lesson in Turkish, and I don't suggest this, because otherwise this culture cannot be disseminated, because we are coming from departments where the language of instruction is English, and also the EFL classes should be conducted in English as well. Maybe some little jokes. Maybe some little jokes can be done in Turkish, but not the whole stuff should be conducted in Turkish. And any advice to tackle this, actually, you have to set the rules before you introduce your course to your students. The rules are the everything, and the students will understand that we have to obey this rule, and they should understand that we are using English for our own sake, for our own favor. This thought should be, included. This thought should be emphasized very well for the students, actually. They have to believe in this.
Yeah. And Sezen Hocam, if you let me, I would like to give an example here.
Of course, hocam.
I don't know whether you have been around little babies. Little babies cannot talk and they do not understand what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
only the melody of your voice or the tone, intonation that you use. So please take your students, see your students as little babies. When a baby makes a noise, for example, it goes like, okay? We give it, we assign a meaning to it. So let's say your students say, öğretmenim, ne zaman oyun oynayacağız? Okay. Hear it, a baby reacting to you, but you are the parent. Now you are going to give the input. Do not translate. Answer the question in English. Guys, come on, be patient. We will play a game in 5 minutes. So what we're doing is, please keep yourselves muted. What we're doing is we are communicating, but it's a kind of an interlanguage communication. Turkish and English communicating. Because when you stop, believe me, guys, I have been teaching English for now 43 years. Believe it or not. That's why I have all the gray hair.
Bravo, hocam. It's a very perfect.
Yes. If the teacher starts speaking in the native, Faride, could you please keep yourself mute? Thank you. If you switch to Turkish or your native language, oh my God, you have lost. You have lost the battle. You have lost the war. And plus, you have lost the challenge for yourself. Because what you're going to do is from now on, whenever you find yourself in a difficult situation, you're going to switch to Turkish. See?
Yeah.
So don't do that, guys. Uh, Faride, would you please keep yourself muted? Is is that person your student?
No,
Do you know her?
no.
Okay. Okay. Right.
So experience talks hocam, as you can see.
Yep. Uh, what is the problem, Gita Hoca? This dialogue between you and Shebnem Hoca, body language and cues. What have
She
we?
or he sent me by mistake. I don't teacher the message.
Okay, okay. Gita Hocam is a she, definitely. So yeah, if you want us to see, Allah Allah, what is your problem? Okay. Uh, please choose everybody in meeting. Okay? Because if you choose only one name, then your message can only be seen by that person. Right? Giti Hocam, if you have a question, please ask it of everyone in the meeting. Yes. I know. Yes. Right. Oh my God. Ömer Salih Hocam, please do not release private information about Sezen Hoca.
Ömer'cim ya.
Uh, guys, I see that you do not have any questions, but of course now we have, well, maybe we have one more window to look through when we do an activity in the classroom. Now, thanks to Sezen Hocam, we know that we can turn it into a brilliant dialogue by asking the right question or encouraging our students to ask the right question. Okay, I know you're going to say, Amma, uh, our students do not speak in English, da 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 da. Well, you are the teacher, you're going to find a solution. I believe in you.
Yeah.
Never stop believing in yourself. Never. Because I know that you're all great teachers and you're doing all the best to help your students learn this language. Okay? Sezen Hocam, I really don't know how to thank you. What
Thank
a
you.
wonderful presentation. And everyone thanks you, of course.
Thank you.
And I hope we can get together again and talk about something else the next time. Why
Yeah, I
not?
would love to. I would love to, definitely. Thank you very
Mhm.
much.
Thank you again. And of course, my dear colleagues, thank you. A million, a zillion, a billion, a trillion. I don't know. You choose. Because without you, these sessions don't mean anything. What you all bring, some
Yeah.
color, some,
Thank you.
light to these sessions. Next week, we are not going to have a session because the next day is a national holiday and I will not be here in Ankara, so I will be attending a meeting in Muğla. So I will hopefully I will see you the following week. Sezen Hocam, would you like to say goodbye so that I can close the
Okay.
session?
Thank you for coming and thank you for listening to me. So take care, everyone, and hope to see you soon. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
Enjoy yourself. Be safe. Be safe.